Hey everyone. In this video, I want to talk about why you shouldn't become bitter towards the sex that you're attracted to. I see a lot of people allow themselves to fall into this trap as they get older because they have more and more experience with a bunch of different partners, and quite often we can end up in patterns where we consistently choose partners who aren't good for us. And I'll get into that later and why that could actually be, and usually is, your own fault. But for now, I wanted to talk to you about how this behavior really doesn't serve you. You need to kind of prevent yourself from falling into this trap mentality, because you can't blame an entire sex for the actions of maybe a few members of it. If you've encountered or had, say, more than 5 partners in your life that were all bad, or you got cheated on multiple times, don't let that make you view the entire sex of that same person as all of them being bad. It's like when men say that all women are liars and all women will cheat on you, and then women say the exact same equivalent but regarding men, and neither of those statements are true, because you can't put everyone in one box because of the actions of a few people who happen to act in similar ways. It's just, this is one of those things that really disheartens me when I see people spouting this nonsense, because it is nonsense. It's just, they don't have the self-awareness to realize how, well, one, this way of thinking is ridiculous and it falls completely flat on itself because of how quickly you can turn it around against the person saying these things, but also, like I said, how this can actually be your own fault. So what I mean here is, every single partner that you've had in your past has been somebody that you have chosen, that you have tolerated, that you have allowed into your life. Do you see what I mean? It's your choice to let them in. So if these people end up being bad and you continue to let them in and you don't kick them away, or if they show signs of them being bad, certain red flags, and you choose to ignore them because you really like the person, you have nobody to blame but yourself if they end up hurting you and then they start to affect your opinion of the entire sex that they belong to. So I know this can be hard to hear because we don't like to think that we can put ourselves in these situations, and I understand, but I need to be real with you if I want to help you, because lying to you or trying to be overly positive just isn't how things work in the real world, and it's usually not the best way of helping someone. But the good news is, if you have been choosing a lot of bad partners enough that it has made you somewhat embittered towards that sex, you can work on this. You can actually fix this. Quite often it's a problem where you don't practice enough self-love. You don't know your worth. So those two things combine, meaning you'll try to get love from elsewhere, even from people who aren't good for you at all, and you'll be so focused on trying to obtain their love and validation and even their attention that you will purposely ignore all of their faults, all of their bad qualities, because you're craving for their love so much. That's a huge problem. You do not want that. So the way to fix this is to practice self-love. Start being kind to yourself. Start getting to a place where you can truly love and accept yourself for who you are with all of your flaws. Because when you can get to a place where you love and accept yourself, guess what? You're not going to be relying on other people to fill that void for you. You're going to fill it yourself. So now, if you encounter someone who is bad for you but who is willing to love you, you'll say, hey, I don't need your love because I already provide it for myself, and you're actually a bad partner for me, so I'm going to go in this direction and you stay the hell over there. That's what ends up happening when you practice self-love. And when you know your worth, it helps with that as well, because you'll know what you bring to the table, which means you'll know what you deserve in another partner. If you're a great person, then you should want your partner to be a great person as well. But quite often people who don't know their worth won't know what they're deserving of, so they'll tolerate just any random person they can find on the street who's willing to love them. You don't want to do that. So the way to know your worth is just to get to know yourself really well. Spend time literally thinking about who you are and what makes you the person that you are. The more you know yourself, the more you know what you bring to the table, and that allows you to then know what you deserve from other people. And then with those two things combined, self-love and self-worth, You can start raising your standards. Now, you don't want to raise them to the point where you're going to be single your whole life, so definitely allow some leeway. I would say you should never tolerate red flags, but if somebody has something about them that isn't a red flag, it's not on that level, but it still kind of makes you hesitant or a bit uneasy, realize that you can tolerate those things. Because as long as they're not red flags, the person could work on them, especially if you are willing to help them in that regard. But I've just learned that you don't want to have super high standards. It won't work. You won't find people who will actually fulfill those standards. So definitely have high standards, but not perfection. Don't be trying to find the perfect person, because they don't exist. But anyway, you do want to raise your standards, though. That's for certain. If you've been attracting a bunch of bad people enough to become embittered towards the sex that you're attracted to, then you definitely need to raise your standards, because that will make it so that you're not going to tolerate these low quality people, because that's who they are. High quality people are not going to ever treat you in a way that's going to make you become embittered towards their same sex. They're not going to. That's not the way high quality people are. That's not who they are. So all the people in your past who allowed you to lose trust in, say, men if you're a woman, or for the guys out there, if you've lost trust in women, then realize that those partners were probably low quality. I'm willing to bet that they were low quality, because high quality people aren't going to have that effect on you. Sure, they may hurt you if they decide to leave, but they're probably not going to leave in a way that breaks you. They're not going to cheat on you or something like that, because high quality people are the ones who will break up with you before they think of cheating, because they know that cheating on people is just messed up shite. So yeah, but basically work on your self-love, work on knowing your worth, and that will help you raise your standards. Now, I thought of this topic because I was thinking about my past and how I've been making a lot of videos on dating as of late, and I was thinking about how I used to be when I was younger, and I realized that I was almost getting to a place where I was becoming embittered towards women, because growing up, I was horrible with girls. I really was. I loved them, but I just didn't know how to connect with them. It's like in second grade, I had a teacher that unfortunately was horrible and was able to change my personality. I was always very extroverted and always talking to people and charismatic, and I got in trouble in school for that. So I literally changed my personality so I wouldn't get in a bunch of pink slips in school, because I got so many I started to hide them from my parents. I was getting in trouble so much in school for not paying attention and talking, because that's just who I was. It was my personality. Don't even get me started on how upset I am that school and teachers can literally change our personalities for the worse. But anyway, so because I changed my personality thanks to that second grade teacher, I actually wasn't as good with the girls growing up, because I was suppressing myself. I was suppressing my inner nature to avoid getting into trouble. And yet that nature was exactly what would help me connect with women. And I didn't know that until I became like probably 19 or 20 did I finally realize that I needed to stop acting in that way. I needed to stop suppressing that part of me. But I was getting to a place where probably in like early college, I was just very, very upset at how my efforts weren't quite working the way that I wanted, and it just wasn't great. I just dropped my remote. I don't edit these videos, and I'm not going to, so that's staying in. But anyway, yeah, so I got to a place where I was almost getting close to being embittered towards women, but thankfully even back then I realized that was a stupid thing to do. But that realization made me think that I needed to make a video to address this topic, because it's just such an important thing. You don't want to allow yourself to get to that place, because you can change it. You can change your position, as I've done. I love women. I would never become embittered towards them because of the actions of a few of them. And thankfully, I haven't had any of them do drastic things to me. I've seen it happen to my friends and other people like that, and it is unfortunate. But it's not enough to make me give up on all women. That would be dumb. So I hope none of you get to that place as well. You can always work on this side of you. It's a mindset thing. It truly is. If you're getting to a place where you're feeling bitter towards all women or all men, you can work on that. And you can do those things I previously mentioned. I just wanted to share my own experience because I realize I don't do that enough in these videos anymore. I don't know why, it makes them too long as this one is getting to be, but I figured it would be helpful to share my experience here and let you know why I decided to make a video on this topic. Anyway, I've been talking for long enough, so I hope this video helped you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci!